My name is Zelnus, and I'm here with my co-caster Spooty Biscuit.
Hello, hello.
And we are already off. And here we go. We have both runners starting in two completely different locations, and neither netted them anything.
Yeah, Glenntai just opening up the house chest and then immediately going over to check the sanctuary. Just wanted to get those two out of the way immediately.
I do know people who do that, because sometimes you get stirred if like boots are in there and you just put it off. But
It's understandable. Oh, Glenntai saving quitting again. I guess maybe wants to go start the house. Maybe do the bomb farm route. Get the bomb under the bushes by the grove.
Yeah, I think that's starting to become more and more common lately. No, he's doing the now common, but I think inefficient uncle route.
Yeah, Justin Z going for a going for a tree pull and bug check there. Tree pull giving hearts and the bug dropping fairies. Honestly, that's the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah, I have actually never seen that before. I didn't know you could do that. And nothing at the graveyard, or sorry, not the graveyard. Nothing at Lumberjack.
Yeah, so not gonna be doing Aghanim for the item there, but you know how this works. Plenty of other ways Aghanim could be required for the run. Green bottle right there in the mushroom spot, so that's a little bit of
useful.
Safety tools and also an early sick kid check when they do their first village run. Always good to knock that out early.
Yeah, it is one thing that can troll some runners. Oh, and there's a sword in the forest.
Early sword. Okay, so no lengthy swordless runs here, but that's for sure. Immediate weapon. Gonna be able to handle most fights pretty easily.
So I've recently started. This is the second time I've seen it today, so this must be a new strat of doing forest and then save and quit in if you don't get like bombs before entering Kakariko, and then you just do this route. I don't know what I think about it, but it's neat. I like it.
Yeah, this is the route I was referring to earlier. There's a bomb that's about has like a 50-50 shot of showing up under these bushes. And if you don't get it, you can just transition into the grove and walk back out to get another shot at it. And then you can use the bombs. There you go. Getting one bomb. You can use the bombs to farm the doorless hut in village, which has 4 bombs pots. If you don't get early money or early bombs, like early money to buy bombs, or just an early 3 bombs out of a chest, or bombs out of a tree pull, or bombs out of bugs. There's plenty of places you can get bombs, but if all those fail, this works pretty reliably.
Oh,
he's just farming the bushes and nothing else. He's not even going all the way to the doorless hut.
Like, I usually do that until I have 3 bombs, and that's just like 1 so I can do the game over here, 1 so I can do the hut, and 1, and then that usually just gives me with those 4 bombs enough to do everything early.
And just $20 at race game, so not going to be spending time in there.
Nope. If it was maybe 100, you'd think about it. If it was 300, you'd probably do it.
Yeah, just for a big 20, and that looked. I saw it briefly, but I think that was a blue potion on the library shelf.
So not required, but if for whatever reason they were back in this area. Like, I don't know, maybe they have mirror while they're doing, like, smiths and that. They might want it. They might mirror, go in and
something
grab
you might pick up if you find boots and are looking for a little bit of safety, but otherwise we're probably not going to see that library pickup.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, right here's that early sick kid check I was talking about. It's always good to get the early bottle because, and it's a vanilla bug bat. Look at that.
Oh, how neat.
Yeah, when you get bottles later in the run, the sick kid's kind of an obnoxious blue square, as we call it, where it's just this one item location in the middle of village when you very often don't really have to do much else in village beyond like finishing Thieves Town. So good to get that out of the way early.
Yeah, the village itself has a lot of those loose squares in it, and sometimes they are brought on just because of RNG. Like sometimes you just do a route and you stick to it, like you do the top, like the sanctuary route from standard mode. You just don't have bombs. You go through the village, you don't find any bombs, and you just have like these 3 loose squares sitting here.
And Glenntai picking up bombos from the back of the thieves' hut there. Not really useful this early in the game, but could be required later down the road.
Yeah. And at getting an early bomb, early bow is much more.
And Moon Pearl.
Okay, so I was about to say that sometimes early bombos could be a sign of going somewhere, but early bow is also usually a sign.
Yeah, early bow likely means we're gonna see a trip over to East. Ooh, well, maybe not. Maybe that makes it a little bit questionable. It's a blue pendant over at Eastern Palace, which kind of calls the value of doing Eastern into question. But at the same time, with this early bow, you kind of gotta feel like the logic's trying to point you over there.
Yeah, and I mean, if they found the lamp, like that's almost like the game saying, "Well, Armos got something for you."
Yeah, that is true. It's with the dark rooms in Eastern, the item distribution logic does technically require the lantern to finish Eastern and to reach the big key chest. So 2 item locations in Eastern locked by the lantern technically. I don't know how comfortable these players are with dark rooms, but you can certainly do those rooms, get those items without the lamp. It looks like we're going to see a run over to Hyrule Castle from Justin.
Makes sense. He has a bow, and maybe he'll find some arrows just on accident. Alternatively, he has a sword, so he can get through here regardless.
Yeah, the sword's going to make it nice and easy. Doing a tree pull there, but hasn't killed anything since the last tree pull, so just gets a nice little puff of smoke.
At least it didn't lay to the screen, so. There's just like nothing ended up being in here, so. It's unfortunate. We're seeing Glenntai check the stuff south of Kakariko, and we'll probably save and try to make some decision.
Yeah, if I'm recalling correctly, it was Blue Pendant at Eastern, and then I think it was Crystal 6 at Desert and Crystal 4 at Tower of Hera. I might be mixing those 2 crystals up.
Yeah, I was definitely only focused on what Eastern was as the commentary because that was a very important check.
Yeah, me too. And Justin made that map check pretty quick, so I didn't, just caught a glimpse of the other 2. But I think that's what we're looking at for the map on the early game here.
I'm wondering if Justin Z maybe saw that run earlier today for the secondary tournament where the runner completely blanked on going back to escape for the longest time, and maybe that's why he's clocking it out before Southern Kakariko.
Yeah, and sometimes, like, I'm guilty of leaving escape behind a long time, longer than I should in a lot of races, because it's kind of the logic of, well, if you're unsure if it's an Aghanim seed, like, it can be tempting to do it last, like, because that puts you right by Aghanim if you're gonna have to do them anyway.
Yeah, I definitely made sure to do it before I enter in the Dark World. Like, so I'll leave it because, yeah, like what you said, it could be an Agha seed, and this will place you very, very nicely in the same dungeon. You can either Death Warp.
Ooh, 2 great finds on Glentai's side, the book and the flute.
That's very interesting. That makes Desert, like, really interesting to check, but you can't do much in there. He has no other items.
Yes,
you can enter it.
This is kind of an interesting start where we're getting 2 kind of contradictory items that are trying to pull you towards two different dungeons on the complete opposite sides of the map, no less. You've got Eastern, which is, that bow is kind of pulling you there, but the book kind of makes you want to go check those first 2 chests, well, that first, 1 or 2 chests, depending on what's in the first one, over in Desert. With his current build, you're right, he can only open that first chest, kind of in the center of the dungeon. Right. No boots means you can't get the bonk item, and no gloves means he can't reach Lenmola's.
So we are looking to see maybe this table. Oh, there's some money, and that was a 300. Yep. So he is really close to being able to just do Zora.
Oh, and there's that lantern we were talking about for Eastern.
Oh, that makes Eastern a huge play because it also gives you the money for Zora. So
yeah, Eastern does have that 90 rupee room if you're kind of close to the Zora money threshold, just not quite there. Those 90 rupees will definitely help him.
I think that he's making the play to Eastern right now. It's totally saying Eastern has something.
I think immediately then remembering that he picked up that flute and should probably go activate that. One of the primary rules about finding flute is that you generally want to activate that as soon as you can after you find it.
It is very rare that it makes more sense to leave the flute activation.
Yeah, especially if he's making the play, if he's making the play for either one of those dungeons, Eastern or Desert, having that flute activated, there's flight points that lead straight there for both of those.
It makes more sense to flute to 5, go do Eastern, complete it if you don't find all the items, and then go check the chests in Desert, including the Ledge and the Adjunct. So it gives you access to at least one item for sure, because it could just be dungeon items in Desert that he has access to right now. But it also gives him easy access to Adjunct, which is generally a troll.
Yeah, Agna is one of those locations that's kind of far out of the way, and I think a lot of players kind of feel the same way they do about that as like Ice Rod Cave.
Yep.
It's usually useless, and then when it's not, it can really bite you.
And he has options to go to Eastern first.
Yeah, which I think is probably like I think I agree with that call. With the lantern and the bow, even though it is a pendant dungeon, it's fully completable. I don't think there's any way like it. Or if there is, it's a very low odds that you go to Desert and then find what you need to complete it there, because he still needs he needs gloves. He needs exactly gloves out of probably like 2 items he can pick up.
He needs exactly gloves. He needs the small key to be in the chest, gloves to be in one of the 2 chests on the left side, and the big key. So, and here we go. We have flippers. On top of this, like, this gives him money for Zora if he opts to take the right side room. This will give him these 3 items, Eastern's 3 items, and it just gives him more options to possibly get the gloves.
And speaking of those that flipper pickup we just saw on Glentai's side, meanwhile on Justin's side, we're seeing a fake flipper over to check the Lake Highland Island and Hobo.
He's actually on such close money. I wonder if he's gonna try and find like, if he's got a fake flip, he has Moon Pearl, he could just gamble on there being a 20 in the Waterfall kit, Fairy Cave.
Yeah, that is true. Could see a check for that whole area soon. And Hobo, well, there's the 20. He's got the 500 rupees. Looks like he's going to go for fake flippering again.
Yeah.
Gets the setup, and is going to fake flipper back out and head over to the Waterfall. I'm actually not sure, like, with the flute, if that's actually any faster than just saving and quitting, fluting back to 8, and fake flippering again. It's pretty close, probably.
Save and quit's about, what, 6 seconds-ish?
Meantime, Glenntai with silvers out of the first chest in Eastern, so, yeah, those armors are gonna go down quickly, if he has to go all the way there.
This is like, that almost feels like the reverse of the RPG cliche of the item you need to defeat the boss is after the boss. It's just right in the dungeon for the boss.
So meanwhile, yeah, with that Moon Pearl, the Moon Pearl kind of gives causes a little quirk in the game's programming, and triggers an extra condition check as you swim out of the waterfall ferry in fake flipper mode, and gets you walking for some reason. So lets you open those chests, and nothing useful out of the waterfall ferry, but he's going to walk all the way into Zora's domain. And there's the hammer.
Oh, so flippers are actually needed.
That's really unfortunate for Justin Z to be checking that now, because we know flippers are readily available, and that hammer is available in the logic right now, but you can't quite grab that yet.
I mean, if you had a fairy, there's a very obscure fairy revival that you can do. So in theory, if he had exactly the right equipment, he could pull off a really neat minor glitch and get over the ledge.
Yeah, but no chance of that, so just gonna have to save and quit with those fresh 10 new arrows in tow. Or with some great bulk purchasing options.
I think if by bulk purchasing options you mean he paid for your bulk rupees with his 10 arrows.
Hey, I don't know, man. 50 rupees for 1 arrow seems like a pretty good deal. It's a better deal than the time the bottle vendor gave me 1 arrow for 100.
Nice. Yeah, I guess the Zora domain's got a better economy right now. So he is activating his flute now. He did leave that a little bit longer.
Yeah, decided to take care of all the fake flippering stuff over on South Shore before saving and quitting to activate this.
I'm
not sure if he checked Ice Rod Cave.
Neither runner has yet, no. So Glenntai, I just realized, does not have many arrows, so hopefully he grabs some of these arrow chests.
Yeah, there's plenty of arrows available in the main lobby area of Eastern. There's a ton under the pots in here, and then there's plenty of arrows on the way up to Armos.
Yep.
Yeah, I can be seeing them. Oh, and there's arrow drops from Stelphos.
Perfect. Oh, is he just opted not to do it? I don't know if he has.
That's odd. He has the means to kill Armos, and
it wouldn't even be a long fight with Silvers.
And there's still items left in Eastern.
Yep, there's one. It's very interesting.
If I'm correct, like I
think you're correct. Yeah. Like if there wasn't, why would he have continued in the dungeon? If they were, because then it would be vanilla bid key and then 2 dungeon items.
I guess I missed the second chest. Maybe like seeing the compass just made him realize, oh no, I've already got all 3 of the items. But I thought he still had one left. So yeah, now Justin with the Justin going over to Desert.
Hoodshot was on the desert ledge.
Yeah, so he's gonna pick that up. And this is just really back and forth in terms of all the progression these guys are finding.
That hoodshot's actually a big deal. So like, there doesn't even need to be anything in Eastern for this trip to be worth it. Or, sorry, in Desert, I mean.
Yeah. We'll know very shortly if boots are required for Desert, just based on what's on this first chest. Now, in order for this to not be boot locked, he needs to get some form of key in this first chest.
Yep.
And that is not a key, so it is indeed boot locked. We'll need to come back here later when he finds boots. Just to confirm, looking in, and there's a small key on the torch. Yep. Which means that we know the big key is over somewhere on the right side.
Slight waste of time since it was obviously a key of some kind, but still fine to check such you maybe it'll just set your brain in the right mindset when you come back.
Yeah, with the way the items and locks in Desert Palace are distributed, if there's not a key in that first chest, then you know there has to be a key on the lantern, because that's the only other location you can reach without any keys.
Correct, and they don't ever require, like the logic will never require you to do the boss portion to grab a small key to then go back to get an item. Like, there is some interesting scenarios you could conduct where you do grab that small key in the boss portion, but the logic will never require you to do that.
Alright, so Justin going up Death Mountain here. Gonna deliver the old man, see if he's got anything for him. Yeah, that hook shot, with that hook shot in tow, I think this is definitely the right play to be making. Hook shot's gonna grant access to East Death Mountain, and there's a sword from the old man. Okay. Very solid pickup for Justin.
That's a sign of Agina at this point. You got a Master Sword, you got the torch.
It's possible, but at the same time, we know the hammer is accessible, and they already have the Moon Pearl, which means that all they have to find at this point is a lift upgrade for full Dark World access, and no need of Aghanim.
True, but with that having the hammer and the hoodshot, they actually would have access to all of Dark World, which vastly increases the number of locations that Powered Love can be. But obviously, you'd leave that for relatively last. You might not check a few like spots here or there, but it is something to keep in mind. They can access a large portion of the world at this point.
Now, it'd be really good for Glenntai if he checks Zora's domain and picks up that hammer before heading up to Death Mountain. It looks like that's not going to be the case. Having the hammer here would also add access to Tower of Hera, with the ability to fully complete it with that lantern, regardless of where the big key is. But going up to Death Mountain now, so isn't going to be able to knock out Tower of Hera in this run. We'll just be trailing slightly behind Justin's pickup of items in Death Mountain here, and it looks like we're not really seeing much in this East Death Mountain cave.
Ironically, both runners, even though they have very different runs, both have hoodshot. It's not tracked yet on Glenntai, but I'm be surprised if he missed it.
No, yeah, he grabbed the hookshot off the ledge, so yeah,
one runner knows. Yeah, one runner knows where the hammer is, but just doesn't know where the flippers are, and the other runner doesn't know where the hammer is and has the flippers to get them. So it's very weird, like, dichotomy here.
Yeah, it's just a matter of how long it takes Glenntai to go check the Zora's domain, and I imagine it probably won't be too long with the flippers available and being almost at 500 rupees. That's a lot of items you can pick up over there. That's 2 out of the Waterfall Fairy, 1 off the Legend, 1 off of Zora. Bit of divergence here, though. Glenntai is checking Spectacle Rock first. Nothing up here worthwhile, just 20 rupees and a piece of heart. I believe Justin skipped checking those and went straight to the east side. And yeah, it doesn't look like anything came out of the east side Death Mountain that I noticed. Just a bunch of rupees and a couple of hearts. And now Justin gonna do that Spectacle Rock trip, just clear out everything remaining on this that he can reach on this Death Mountain.
Very interested if something ends up being right. Here, no. That is a huge amount of areas kind of cut off right there.
Yeah, the combination of hammer, hookshot, master sword, and book could also mean that Ether Tablet has something important here.
That is very interesting, yeah.
Yeah, that hammer is actually locking quite a bit of options up here on Death Mountain. It's just a matter of when we finally see one of the racers get it.
Okay, so I think Justin should be heading to... Nope. Oh yeah, head into Ice Rod and then hopefully to Eastern soon. Hopefully it doesn't put that off too long. Those flippers are very important for him.
Glenntai missing the bomb jump out, so looks like he's going to go for it again. This bomb jump saves a little bit of time in terms of reaching Spiral Cave. Oh, and that's his last bomb, so he's got to be careful about that.
There we go. Got it. All good. Gotta pull out the hook shot so that he can get rid of the mini mold arms in that, or get rid of all the enemies in that cave fairly safely. Since the jelly like shotgun.
Seeing play on
Eastern.
Is he heading to Eastern? Yeah, I guess he's heading to Eastern. Interesting that he went to the house instead of Flute Spot 4 instead of Flute Spot 5. Although I suppose if you're going to Sir Hashla first, it's about the same distance. Using the hook shot a little bit to save some time.
I'm not sure what is faster, using the hook shot at close range or swinging your hammer. Wonder. But he's collecting money on the way too.
And this is going to be good for Justin because he's going to find these slippers and probably immediately head for that hammer, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I don't think it's a mistake to check Eastern. It is very interesting that silvers are independent. That doesn't seem to have anything else. He hasn't menued over yet, so I don't know.
It looks like he's... Yep. Okay. Yeah, he's going to get that hammer.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
Glenntai going to be picking up that hammer not too far behind. It looks like he's doing all his lake work right now, going over to Hobo. Probably going to head over to Zora afterwards.
Now, it is important to mention that silvers does in fact make a pretty big difference in time in the late game and against some bosses. So him having, if for some reason Justin never goes back to Eastern, that is an advantage to Glenn, even though he invested that time in Eastern.
Yeah, the silvers will help, especially against Ganon, especially if they don't find another sword upgrade. Because Master Sword Silverless Ganon is a bit of a slog.
Far less of a slog if you do have those silvers, though.
And yeah, Justin going to pick up that hammer right now. I imagine we'll probably see them go back up to Death Mountain to get into Hera.
It makes sense. They're probably both gonna kick themselves that they could have had that hammer when they did that.
But yeah, with that hammer currently with their current build, that the only thing that opens up access to is Tower of Hera. So that's definitely a place straight back up to the mountain.
It's interesting that they actually almost have exactly the same amount of money. Like once he does the Zora, they're basically gonna have the same.
Well, at this point, they've mostly checked the same locations. I think the primary difference here is that just Glenntai has checked most of the Eastern, and Justin hasn't.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to see him a little disappointed with the arrow drops here.
Yeah, might see him skip out on them entirely, just to save himself the animation time. Yep. Rejected.
This does cause a graphical glitch when you get to the ledge, though. I've had it happen, and you'll see the wrong item here.
Oh, it's some magical transforming arrows right there.
That threw me off the very first time I saw it the other day, and I was like, did I just break the game?
Alright, yeah, and here comes that ether tablet check from Justin.
Power gloves from the god?
Just a bomb booster. Considerably less helpful. But yeah, now it's going to be time to do Tower of Hera. It is a crystal dungeon, so it is, of course, very valuable to complete.
Yeah, it's also a fairly short dungeon, all things considered. Unless you have to do the tile room.
Well, we've got a 50-50 shot. This chest on the first floor is either going to have a small key or a big key. The small key is going to send them straight to the basement. Okay, and that is a big key, so he can climb right now, but with that front basement only having the map, it's fairly likely that there's another significant item in the basement that they'll have to check. Tower of Hera does have 2 non-dungeon items. Nice use of the hookshot there, shoving the beetles into the pits.
Yeah, considering those beetles are pretty resilient to stuns, it is nice that they get pushed back by it.
Glenntai kind of waffling a bit on whether they want to check ether tablet first or just go straight into her. Gonna go over and check the ether tablet, pick up that bomb booster, and a shield out of the first chest here. Justin setting up for a bomb jump. And gets across really cleanly, and there's a small key. So what we're down to is Moldorm has a 50-50 shot of having the dungeon's second item. If he just has a compass, then we know the second item is in the basement. They're going to have to come back in and check that.
Now we'll see if they choose to do hammer or Master Sword spins. And let's say he's going for spins. Because Master Sword slashes do the same as Fighter Sword anything.
Yeah, the Master Sword spins having a little bit more reliable of a hitbox. Just cleaning up Moldorm very nicely there. Very clean fight. And he's got the Power Glove. There is Dark World access right there.
Aghanim is saved for today.
Yeah, definitely not going to be seeing any Aghanim kills now, because with the combination of that hammer, the Power Glove, and the Moon Pearl, they can reach pretty much anywhere in the Dark World. Uh-oh.
Oh, miscount.
Oh, Justin Z forgot about the shield pickup and thinks there's still an item in the basement, and it's going to go back in and... Oh, that is a huge time loss for him. Because you got to sit through this whole tile room.
Please pause. Pause your...
Yeah, if he looks down the bottom right, he'll see that there's no map or compass there. And that this, therefore, has to be the compass over here. But I don't think he's looking at the bottom right corner of his menu there. So I think he's just going to sit through this and be really disappointed by his choice to invest time here.
Meanwhile, this is giving Glenntai a chance to catch up.
Glenntai being a little low on health, gonna get some extra HP here for the Moldarm fight.
Now, as I said earlier, the silvers he has is going to save him time in a few places. So even though he looks behind, although Justin now is going to feel very dumb right now.
Yeah, that's oh man. Like, yeah, just going and killing that Stalfos. Some rage slashes. Oh, Glenntai, I think accidentally poked with the Master Sword or something. We got a fast Moldorm over there, but cleaning it up nonetheless. And we'll be getting that Power Glove himself.
That's actually why I like to stick with Hammer, because it avoids that phase. For sure.
This is a situation where saving and quitting probably would have been preferable. Walking out is going to take quite some time. Is Justin still convinced that he's missing an item? Like that?
Because he sees that there's an item missed. Oh, what? No, now I'm confused.
I think he's thinking that he just forgot to open something and is climbing back up.
Oh, I hope that the nerves aren't getting to him.
Yeah, this could just be a case of tournament nerves, because yeah, he's seen 2 items. It's the shield and the Power Glove, but yeah, apparently one of them has just slipped his mind. He's convinced that he's left something here. He's going to see both these open chests here and realize that no, he does have everything, and there's the save and quit.
Does Glenntai not realize that he? Do both these runners not realize they have Dark World access?
Yeah, Glenntai heading back to Desert. Despite the fact that, with gloves he can reach the back of the dungeon, but without the big key he can't do anything in there.
Yeah, what is going on?
Yeah, I'm not sure where Glenntai is heading for now.
Justin has realized it.
Okay, Justin's heading for,
No. Justin, you have...
trying to go into ice? You need mints for that.
I think Glenntai just doesn't realize he has Dark World access.
It looked like he was trying to head for ice, which makes him, he does realize he has Dark World access.
Okay, there we go.
Like maybe he's going for.
Wait.
Is he going for Aghanim?
Oh no.
Did he forget that he has the Moon Pearl or something?
Maybe? Wait. Yeah, I know he does. Oh, both of our runners. Oh no, he's making an Aghanim play. This is...
Yeah, he's already done Escape, right?
Yeah? I'm pretty sure... Oh, we're getting a very long map check and I didn't look. But
okay, no, he's heading for the back, so maybe I'm just... maybe he hasn't done Escape and I'm just not remembering.
But then... Yeah, okay.
I thought they'd both done it, but maybe I'm just... maybe I'm mistaken here.
So we might begin a pyramid check here. But they can actually complete pod, so if that's a crystal...
Okay, yeah, he hasn't done Escape yet, so... yeah, that's fair then. But, I think... Justin already did and didn't find anything here.
Yes, there's definitely nothing here. I think this is just like, I do the same thing. I will do Escape before I go into Dark World, because once you have access to Dark World, there's just so much to do. And so you kind of put it off, and you don't really want to put off like a possibly important item.
Nothing on the pyramid ledge there, so in the clear there.
I always like to think that anything that you can access with only bombs and like your base equipment as like what the game expects you to have. So like I don't like skipping the Sphere 0 as they're called items if I can help it. Funny enough, with the torch, they could have, if with the small key that they have, could have actually done the other part of Escape with the 3 chests at the far end. So who knows? There might be even gloves there. Maybe that's what he's thinking, because there's a lot of Light World to still check here. Yep, the bat sewers have been. That's what I was talking about. Those 3 chests. The bat sewers are not only accessible. They've been accessible since they found the lantern, because there was a small key. Very interesting.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Glenntai heading over to those, the back of sewers right here.
Yep. Generally something you don't want to do, like doing it without powered love, but sometimes you gotta. And I really like the crystal pod play here. It's fully completable with what you have, and it's got 5 items in it. There's another bottle.
Yeah, nothing worthwhile in the back there. Does have the key though, so has one more chest you can check, but it's just gonna save and quit out. Did they find a map? I don't.
They did. There is an item there.
So there is still an item down there then.
Correct. He might be checking. Oh no! Yeah, I legitimately think he does. He thinks he's missing Dark World access.
Could be going for that cross room from the front, which is the slower choice here, but and maybe forgot he has the key. Yeah, he's heading for the cross room. Would have been faster where he was at that point to just walk in reverse through the sewer escape from those 3 chests, but this will get him here, get him there nonetheless.
Unless he still thinks he has to do Addendum, and he's just gonna Death Warp in here. But he hasn't taken it. We'll see what happens in this room up here. This is the room where you take all your damage if you need to.
Yeah, it seems strange. It seems like a bit of an interesting choice to me to, like, once you get Dark World access, to go continue checking Light World locations. Like, to me, when I get access to the entire Dark World like that, I'm going straight away there. Like that's so many new locations that open up, so much more information that you gain by going to Dark World and seeing what dungeons you need to do. He really needs to be looking to make his way into Dark World soon.
And yeah, he's going at it, so he just doesn't. Please see your Moon Pearl. Where are you going?
Wait, yeah, he just looked at his inventory for a little bit. And okay, he's going over to the village, going over to Kakariko Village. So I think he's going to go for the Village of Outcast portal.
Good. Okay, good. Crisis averted.
Yeah, I was slightly concerned that he wasn't sure about the Dark World access, but it looks like he's going to head in there now.
He's just being efficient.
He could do a pedestal check while he's passing through here as well.
Hmm.
It looks like he's just going to head straight for the portal. That's totally fair.
So it looks like Green Pendant is Thieves Town. Yeah. Unless I'm missing something.
That's a bit of a tricky one. Green Pendant's worth an extra item. But at the same time, it's a pendant dungeon. Do you go all the way through with Thieves Town when it's a Green Pendant like that?
I'd say it depends on how many items you find in the first 4. If you find 3 out of 4, it's probably just worth it to leave. But if I
find another sword in the chess game,
that actually makes this worth it, because I liked Justin's play better, because Pod's a crystal, Pod has 5 items, it's right there, you have access. But now that temper kind of changes everything.
Oh, and boots.
Okay, change of plans. The Pod play was good as well. These are 2 very even plays.
House of Darkness, lots of items in there, and yeah, it is a crystal dungeon as you talked about. So yeah, this play really paying out for Justin, and it's not all that surprising considering that House of Darkness has 5 items to to be pulled out of it.
Now.
And yeah, Fire Rod on Glentai's side in Thieves Town. So both these plays are paying out in their own ways.
This is very interesting, because that leads to at least to Skull Woods, which is just to your north. So this is very interesting. Having that tempered sword, having silver. Was that Titans?
No, that's a small key.
Oh, darn.
It's a shield upgrade for Glenntai. Looks like he contemplated leaving there, but you don't really want to save and quit out here, because that's going to put you all the way back in the Light World.
Yep.
Could just Death Warp here very easily, and he's going to do exactly that. They're just going to front port and leave.
This makes sense, because again, he found 3 out of the 4 items in Pod, so or sorry, in Palace in Thieves Town. So it made sense to just leave. It's not worth doing.
I think that was just 2.
Was it just 2? Well, I mean,
yeah, the sword came out of the chest game. I think he found the small key, which means that he could only find 2 items.
right.
Which I believe were Fire Rod and Shield Upgrade.
I don't know if I would have continued. That's like a 50-50 on if it's good, and if you have to like kill blind, that's pretty long. I think I liked what he did.
Yeah, Justin gonna have a little bit trickier of a Helisaur fight than Glenntai will have with his current build. Just Master Sword versus Tempered Sword and Silver Arrows.
Silver Arrows being the big deal because it just one-shots his second phase.
Yeah, you don't necessarily really need to use Silvers as much. Like Tempered Sword is like a spin and 2 slashes will kill his final phase as well. But it is an alternative option available to him. Looks like he's going to continue overworld checks and is heading up to Bumper Cave.
Always a good thing to check because especially if you're doing Stallwoods anyway, and we're not coming back here.
Yeah, that's just $300, and the big money spending is already over for the run. Both runners have already paid off Zora.
Yep. And at that point, after Zora, you only need like $200 more to pay for chest game, bid game, and pod entrance.
So yeah, we are going to see that Skull Woods check. Now, there are 2 schools of thought as to how to approach pod. It looks like Glentai's going for the more kind of traditional is what I'd say check, where you just go front to back. Yep. You look for the items in the front and gradually make your way back to Mothula. But some players prefer going straight to the back to kill Mothula first. The logic kind of being that you, unless it's a pendant, you have to kill Mothula at some point. And if he has the item, like one of the 2 items in here, then that limits how much you have to check in the front.
Now we have already seen 1 item, which is just
and
money.
There's the other item, the single arrow.
Oh.
Single arrow, both in the front here, so he can just book it straight to Mothula at this point.
Yep, which is nice because this dungeon is one of the 2 dungeons that do not require a bid key in any way. You just have to check them for items. The other one being Swamp, where if you have the items to do Swamp, or if you have the hood shot and the hammer, you can just complete it by running straight to the boss.
And he's got while he's got the stronger offense between the 2 of the runners, he does have the weaker defense. Has not picked up that blue mail that I believe came out of Hype Cave.
I believe that sounds about right.
So yeah, running a little bit low on health in this part of the run, and definitely want to make sure you don't die in the overworld.
Yeah.
Dying in the overworld is going to send you all the way back to one of the standard warp points, and you're gonna have to walk all the way back into here.
Yeah.
Dying inside the dungeon a little less bad. Yeah,
it's just the deal we're seeing, and honestly, he'll probably die to if he's smart. He's not playing risky. He's gonna leave, come back, fall in the pit twice, and then that's it. Then he has his health back.
Might see him immediately suicide. Oh! Getting jumped on right away as soon as he exits the door, and that's all the way back to that warp point. Gonna have to walk all the way back into Skull Woods again.
Now, with both items found and it not being a red crystal, you can almost at this point just leave it be if you're frustrated.
Yeah, that really hurts for him because those are the last enemies before entering the back of Skull Woods. You just had to make it past those 2, and he would have been clear to just suicide, get a partial health refill, and walk into the back of Skull Woods and kill Mothula.
He's gonna fill up his 2 bottles.
I think that's a good cautionary response to a bad death like that. Just go get some health potions, make sure that doesn't happen again.
I think both of our runners need to just breathe because they're both making either choices I don't think that they make, because I recognize both these runners from SRL. Neither runner is bad. I think both these runners are actually pretty good. But I think they're making choices, possibly the nerves of being on, overthinking, the restream is on speed gaming, so they're thinking, oh, well, more people are going to watch.
I know when I get into the setting of a tournament match, I tend to overthink, about what my opponent could possibly be doing, and it results in some part of decision making for me. So, you can definitely be seeing some of that. Um, yeah, I don't think it's a bad decision from Justin here. He's checking Skullwoods before finding the fire rod. You know, you could. It's not uncommon that there are required items in the front of Skullwoods, but you know, obviously on our side, we know that that is a decision that's not going to pay out. Both items in Skullwoods being pretty worthless, and fire rod being over in Thieves Town.
So this essentially gives Glenntai a chance to catch up from his death, because Justin won't be able to complete this dungeon. He's going to leave right here. Why have I not thought of just doing that pot? That seems much safer than the way I did that room. Was Justin forgetting? Was it Justin who forgot the item count in Hera?
Yeah, he did, and yeah, opening an unnecessary chest there. Skullwoods is a pretty easy dungeon to get full access through. You don't really need to find any keys or the big key to access, you know, the end of the dungeon or anything. So once you find those two items, you're free to just ignore all the other chests. So kind of an unnecessary chest open there to get that map.
Yeah, because there is a key that you can pick up before entering this section that Glenntai is in. Just in that last room, you can pick up a key under the pot, and that will give you exactly as many keys. You'll have to kill the final room's Dibdo, but that's not a big deal. And he's going to pull out his silver arrows to kill these Dibdos instead of using his magic. Oh. Alright, so it either takes 4 tempered slashes, 2 tempered spins, or 1 silver arrow.
Yeah, silver arrow is very powerful.
Yeah, can kill most.
A bit of a wind up before they fire, though, as we just saw there, kind of taking a hit from that one Gibdo because of the delay on the bow firing.
Yeah, there's also another little trick you can do there, which is you can save magic by shooting both the pots with the one fire rod shot by standing behind the right one. So here he's. I would have waited to use that pot, but if he's feeling a little.
It's understandable. The Gibdo here did have the ability to one-shot him at his current health, so just gonna play it safe and pop the potion there and mash it down with sword beams.
Sword beams, which if he only hit it with sword beams, would take 16 attacks. It takes 16 fighter sword slashes to kill a Gibdo. They are resilient.
And there's the fire rod pickup for Justin. Glenn relying on the fire rod to deal damage against Mothula here. Tempered Sword dispatches Mothula really quickly, but the problem is Mothula is a little bit of a buggy fight. No pun intended. But the spikes are specifically programmed to not deal damage with it to him, and that means the way that kind of functions is if you slash at him and he lands crashes into spikes, the 0 damage that the spikes deal, because they will override the damage that your sword is dealing, so your damage will get canceled out. So you got to be careful that you don't hit him into spikes. So, a little bit of a dicey fight, getting down to 1 heart, but is gonna finish it up just fine and get his crystal.
And it was not unheard of for people to casually end up with the golden sword before fighting Mothula, because not everybody would know that they can fire rod down that entrance, so they just get confused and leave.
And Ninban kind of pointing out, Justin seems to have completely forgotten that he picked up boots in House of Darkness.
Oh, I mean, what are boots?
Any dashing from Justin?
Well, I mean, what even are boots? I don't know what they do. Yeah, he's actually doing a very okay. This isn't uncommon. We've seen this even from good runners, where sometimes they just forget they have boots.
Yeah, especially like, you know, these boots were fairly late. Like you just get so used to walking. It's like, you know, that button on your controller just doesn't exist anymore.
It's used to pick up boulders.
Yeah, that's it.
He might realize it if he tries to talk to like an NPC. That's usually, if I've forgotten I have boots, is when I remember. Is when I see myself dash, when I'm like trying to pick something up. Like it'll happen in this dungeon sometimes, because I'll try to press A thinking that the princess will give me, the maiden will give me a text box from vanilla, and it's like, oh, I have boots. He's even dashing a little there. Oh, poor him.
Alright, we're seeing the play on House of Darkness from Glenntai.
We'll see if he recognizes the fact that he has boots when he gets them.
It will be a little while. Those boots came out of the big chest.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he makes better use of those boots than Justin is, which currently is to just say that he uses them, that could definitely help get him a significant lead.
He may also, like, if Justin just doesn't realize he has boots,
that could be a real problem. Desert Palace is boot locked. If he just forgets that he has the boots, like doesn't think he has them, then when's he gonna go back and finish Desert?
And when's he gonna get that other item that's in there? Because Desert is a 5/6 as well, and Pod is too. So this could actually be like an early Fat Fairy requirement.
Yeah, with the Desert Palace and Palace of Darkness being completable with the 5/6 crystals, that's 2 extra items in the Dark World Pyramid you can pick up.
Oh, I really hope.
Unlike Glenn, has been spending this entire time full clearing Thieves Town. Looks like he wants that green pendant.
He also he might just not want to risk it, because he was so adamant that he had to complete like every item in Hera that he did some extra items in Hera. So we'll see.
Alright, blind fight coming up here. Going pretty smoothly here. Yeah, excellent blind fight from Justin's side there.
Okay, and there's blind down. Seem to get through it pretty cleanly. Justin Z is now going to head up to Skullwoods.
Yeah, definitely. Finding that fire rod in Thieves Town is definitely a clear indicator that you want to go take on that moth.
He might be checking up here first. Or just doesn't want to... Yeah, doesn't want to go around, I guess. That makes sense. Can't pull the Titan's gauntlet, so he's doing the vanilla entrance to Skullwoods. Glenn either didn't start it on time or he's losing frames. I don't know which one. Sometimes over the course of a race, a runner can actually lose frames.
Yeah, no, future sight. The tracker is indeed correct. Justin does in fact have boots, but maybe just wasn't looking at the screen at the time he picked them up or something, because hasn't used them yet since he picked them up back in House of Darkness.
Yeah, not a single dash. And again, like we said earlier, when Glenntai goes to this dungeon, he's gonna have a much easier time with his silvers and his...
Minman pointing out that he actually did use them while he was in House of Darkness, but just they've slipped his mind since then.
That is interesting. Huh. Poor guy. Now I'm going to complete the fire puzzle.
And yes, the single arrow was in fact in Skullwoods.
Yep. So, like as is tradition, there was a required item in Skullwoods, single arrow.
Yeah, it's the legendary arrow to kill Ganon. Although, unless Justin makes the trip over to Eastern at some point and picks up those silvers, he isn't going to be using arrows at all to kill Ganon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, silvers, you're so trolly. You can be in literally any chest.
Interesting to note for Justin there, trying to open the fight with a tempered sword spin against Mothula, and those don't do anything to him.
Yeah, well, no, they do damage. They just don't do any extra damage over the slash.
No, they do absolutely nothing to him.
No, they've butt fits that in the game. Old class 4 damage deals class 2 damage.
They fixed the butter sword. But
Oh, really? They
tempered
didn't fix
spins,
the spin?
Yeah, tempered spins don't work against Mothula. It's a little
Oh.
bit of a legacy bug, and they are the boots for Glenntai.
Oh, that explains a few fights. I just assumed that they worked like the Golden Sword worked. Glenntai is in fact using it, although this room, not so useful. It's like, I think 4.5 squares that you have to run, and then it's worth the time it took to dash.
Yeah, that's right. If you're dashing for a shorter distance than that, it's just not worth it. Unless you're doing something like, you're waiting for a bomb to explode or something, so, you would be standing still anyway. Like,
yeah. Revving up your spin while waiting for a bomb is pretty common. If only for Swade, if you pull it off really well, you just run through part of the explosion.
looks like I'm guessing Runtai probably left the chest overhanging the pits here. Yeah, it's gonna go back and check that. But we'll be killing Helmsword very soon. Justin, meanwhile, going along the southern dark overworld, gonna be cleaning up digging game and the old stumpy kid. Again, there he's dashing. He's remembered he's got boots.
Yay!
This is a bit of a long digging game.
Oh wow, yeah.
The digging game prize can take anywhere between 1 and 30 digs. I think getting pretty close. I think that was over 20. So,
absolutely, yeah.
Pretty far into the high end of that. It is seeded, like it is scripted for the seed, so both runners will take as many digs to find the prize, and a little bit disappointing for how long that one takes.
Yeah, Ganon, Teleports, and Adrianum as well are seeded between the two runners, so they will get the same RNG patterns in a few locations. Oh, doing a little bit of fairy catching with his vanilla net. Possibly the best of all the nets.
Okay, there we go. Justin gonna go finish off Desert Palace, and there's an extra item in there, so yeah, definitely a good call to go there. And there aren't a whole lot of locations available to these runners. What I think I'm seeing is they a couple they can check the bonk rocks. I don't think we've seen the bonk rocks. There's the item in Crossroom in Hyrule. There's one item here at Desert. And there's Catfish. And there's one item in the back of Eastern Palace. So a bunch of scattered loose squares that could have the next bit of progression, because I think those are the only locations they can reach right now. Probably looking at Mitts as the next progression. That's going to open up most of the remaining seed. We'll see if we find something here. There's that big key. We knew that was over here.
Oh, so Molus or the big chest has an item?
Molus or the big chest. There's a map and an item left in here.
Glenntai is going to finish up Pod right away.
Yeah, these races, like, for all their route differences, these races are actually pretty close. And there's the second item out of Desert, and it's just a bomb booster. Bomb booster and an arrow booster out of Desert. So, not getting anything useful here, but we'll get the other 5-6 crystal out of Desert Palace, and that will grant access to the Pyramid Fairy. Yeah, Blacksmith requires the mitts because the frog is trapped behind some dark rocks that require them.
Yep, one of the few things that are not a dungeon that are Titans locked. Is all of like that stuff around them. The Hammer Cave as well.
Yeah, those locations kind of by Village of Outcast, and the Dark Death Mountain locations are the big locations. Big location locks for mitts. And then there's also, some of the dungeon options like Ice Palace. The whole Mire area requires them as well. So Glenntai taking a moment to check his map there, figure out where he wants to go.
His next best option is Desert. And I can't really think of where else they can go.
Putting the Sanctuary, probably to check the Bonk Rocks, if I had to guess.
Oh, yeah, that made sense.
I don't think we've seen that from either racer yet. Definitely not from Glenn, since he just got the boots, but I don't think I saw the check from Justin either.
And Justin only just realized he has the boots.
Bonk Rocks, just $20. Nothing worthwhile there. So Glenn gonna follow in Justin's steps right here and finish up Desert as well.
Now, is it possible, like, I don't remember how many items you got in Eastern, but maybe the item left is in Eastern?
But yeah, that's definitely a possibility. There is an item at Armos Knights that Glenn kind of bailed on getting.
And if that is a required item, Justin is going to end up getting the silvers as well. But, oh yeah, right, we have Pyramid Fairy to check.
Yeah, Justin's going to be heading straight for that, which I think is definitely the right play to make. Pyramid Fairy worth 2 items, and just unlocked it with the completion of Desert there. So, yeah, very likely we'll see progression there, because options are very limited at this point.
Yeah, it's Fairy, the item on Armos, green pendant. Which it would be unfortunate if the progression was all in places that Glenntai strategically chose to skip. Oh yeah, Catfish as well. So this actually leads straight into a Catfish play as well.
Yeah, be very convenient to check Catfish from here.
It's probably the most convenient time. The other one being if you're doing, almost lost that bomb. The other being if you're doing like Graveyard Ledge. Little fun fact, if you're holding on to one of these 2 ledges, it actually reduces the delay during the bomb explosion for whatever reason.
And there's Pyramid Fairy has the mitts. That's really huge for Justin.
Yeah. Probably about as big as it could get, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at the map, that opens up so much.
Fire, ice.
I have to imagine the next play to make would probably be Ice Palace or Dark Death Mountain.
I like him making the play on ice right now. I really like doing ice when you can, because not a lot of people do, so sometimes it can put you ahead. It's not too much different between like go mode and full completion. Like I think it's like an extra 2 or 3 minutes. But it is probably the fastest dungeon in go mode. But it does take just a while to get to the boss from here.
And full clearing it does add a fair amount of time over a full clear, but
depends on if you find an early key or not. The early key speeds it up by quite a bit.
But yeah, we'll definitely be seeing a full clear because they're still do need a little bit more. Need that mirror for Swamp Palace and need that cane for Mire. Possibly need Ether as well for Mire. Who knows? And
there's an early bit key. So Hopefully he knows the bomb jump, because that
Yeah.
speeds up the dungeon by a lot.
Yeah, the bomb jump, the infamous Ice Palace bomb jump. Something. If there's one bomb jump to learn, it's that one.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if it goes for it here. In this situation, going for it would be ideal. You want to be going for the bomb jump if you're either just in go mode or if you're looking to full clear it but don't have the Cane of Samaria. Because the Cane of Samaria completely eliminates the need to push the block down from above for the button, because you can just plop a Samaria block on the button and call it a day. But if you don't have that cane, then you want easy access to that block to push down on the button to reach Cold Stare, and bomb jumping is going to make it much easier to do that.
Yeah, and it takes a very long time to do this dungeon the way that the developers intended it to be done. Because the Cane of Samaria is not an intended way to do it.
Yeah, developer intended dungeon order puts this right before Mire, where you would pick up the cane. And you're intended to actually flip a crystal switch just outside of Cold Stare's lair, and then kind of do a whole big runaround up through a series of 7 or so rooms to get around back to the left side of the drop down pit with the blocks. It's really slow, but if you bomb jump, as Justin just did, then you can just start right off on that left side with the switches flipped that way and push the block down straight away.
And in future versions of the game, they just completely overhauled this dungeon because nobody actually did it like intended. So,
when the cane.
So that's interesting. So that makes this dungeon very easy to complete, regardless. So if Glenntai doesn't know the bomb jump, and he were to come in here, that's a big play for him. This also opens up Mire, so this is a huge play to go to ice early.
You might even just see him clear Cold Stare. Yeah, he's going straight to Cold Stare. He's gonna gamble on it. There are no other that the mirror isn't here, and he's just gonna go straight to Cold Stare.
Yeah, mirror is required to do Swamp Palace here, so we are still looking for that and Ice Rod.
And I can understand that gamble. The mitts that he just picked up at the pyramid opened up a whole ton of locations. To find the mirror in. There's the Peg Cave, the Breadsmiths, the Lunchbox, Mire area, East Death Mountain. There's King's Tomb. That's 10 items, right? I think more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Just right there.
Oh, there's 7 on Death Mountain alone, and 4 around the Village of Outcasts. So that's 11 right there.
Oh, and the mirror is at Cold Stare! That's go mode!
No, he still needs Ice Rod.
Go mode. Yeah, Ether could
it's not
be required.
Oh! No, I didn't even notice. I didn't realize it was a pendant. He doesn't need Ice Rod.
Yeah, no, Turtle Rock is pendant. He does not have a need for the Ice Rod.
Wow!
That gamble just working out so well in his favor, just skipping the rest of Ice Palace and finding go mode for it.
Hey, that's not even the only gamble he made in this situation. Going to Ice Palace early is considered a gamble for a lot of people.
I don't think I'd consider it a gamble here, because Ice Palace is really the only dungeon he had available to him that he could clear. But yeah, now with that mirror and the cane, you can clear the rest of the game, assuming that Mire doesn't want Ether. Moment of truth, right here.
He's even walking up. He's not even checking.
And that's Bombo. So it is indeed confirmed go mode.
And he gets to go mode the longest dungeon in the game, Swamp Palace. So he must be feeling ecstatic right now. Now, Justin Z does not have silvers, so I expect him to check a few extra locations on the way, like possibly the items on the way to Cold Stare. Maybe he'll check a Hookshot Cave just to check, depending on how comfortable he is with silverless. So that is, he may just opt to go straight there. So unless Glenntai goes to ice soon.
I think Glenn is gonna do the pyramid fair.
Oh yeah. He's got to do it right, because that's the only real
that bomb shot. So he's gonna pick up his mitts now. The question is he going to check some overworld locations first? Because that's not a bad call.
Yep.
As we were talking about, East Death Mountain, 6 items right up there. There's 2 in Super Bunny Cave and 4 in Hookshot Cave. There's a ton of places that necessary items could be up there. Or even just saving quitting to Sanctuary and checking King's Tomb is pretty quick.
Yeah.
So obviously we know that the play to make here is just to book it straight into ice, pick up that cane and mirror, and just go mode the rest of the game. But it's all down to whether that is the decision he decides to make.
Yeah, it's hey, it's not even like going to Death Mountain is not a wrong choice. That's 7 items that you can check very quickly. So like, I'm not even gonna fault him if he goes there. It's just unfortunate that's not the right call. Now there's a pretty stable philosophy that you should do. You should do like crystals as quickly as possible, and just get them done as soon as they're open to you. And that definitely worked out this seed.
Supreme is asking where it was Hookshot. Hookshot was on the Desert Ledge. Was a pretty early pickup for both of these runners. Oh yeah, and Glenntai is gonna do more overworld checks. Looks like they're heading over to Catfish.
Yeah, this is unfortunate that both required items are in a crystal. Like, this is a fast seed. Like Justin could be done at sub 140. Yeah, now he's on that
the big
50.
key, so can head straight to Vitreous now.
And Swamp takes like, it almost takes longer to get into Swamp than it takes to finish the dungeon.
Oh yeah, when you're in go mode, it's a very quick dungeon.
Yeah. The only difference between go mode and like the difference between go mode and non-go mode is huge.
Okay, saving quitting out of Catfish. We'll see what Glenn's next play is. We're seeing a start at Sanctuary, so probably looking at King's Tomb.
And like we said, this is a mistake. Justin made a choice to focus on crystals, and that choice paid off. Now, I will be curious to ask Justin if he did actually forget about the boots there.
Oh, and that 1 rupee coming out of King's Tomb. Wasn't a very rich king.
No. Or was not very well liked by his people. He might have just looted all his money before he died.
Like, he must not have been a great king. We don't even know his name.
That's true.
Like, it's just a vague, ambiguous. Oh, it's some King's Tomb. We don't know.
Yeah, I think because it's only accessible vanilla after Dark World. I think it's supposed to be like that tomb isn't like part of like the Light World, quote unquote. Like it's only for like after you killed Adnan, because that's when you're like, oh yeah, the Tin's dead because the Tin was Adnan, or I think so. Some weird thing like that. It's nobody mentions that tomb's there until after Light World. So.
Alright, yeah, Glenn is looking to just clean up all of his overworld locations before going into Ice, which is really unfortunate.
Yep, no, it doesn't pay off to rush this one.
Justin having a little bit of a dicey Vitreous fight, gonna spend a potion. Vitreous, even with Blue Mail, can pack quite a punch.
I believe his Lightning Bolts deal the same damage regardless, so... Yeah, it definitely is a painful boss. Option just to shoot arrows into him.
It does have like pretty much just enough arrows to finish him off.
Gonna need to find arrows in GT.
And yeah, now that he's picked up the frog, he's kind of committed into delivering this frog home. Can't enter any dungeons with him following you, so I'm gonna have to deliver him home. Yeah, as I explained in the chat, silvers, while intended to be required for the Ganon fight, are actually not necessary. You can damage him in the last phase of spins as he starts to teleport. So silvers, when you know how to do the silverless fight, are just basically an optional luxury that saves a little bit of time, but is hardly necessary.
Mhm.
And
The difference-
given the way Justin is playing, I think he's pretty confident he can take Ganon silverless.
Yeah, he's seen, and I've seen him around. He believed that he's comfortable with this. I believe Glenntai is as well. So Glenntai would have been fine without finding that as well. But yeah, the gambles that Glenntai made just did not pay off this run. Glenntai is making. Oh, good. We are seeing him go to ice instead of Dark Death Mountain. This is fantastic.
All right, yeah, Glenn getting back on track. Getting where he needs to be going. Just double checking that he is going into a crystal dungeon, I think. Yeah, much like a lot of other V26 seeds, that we see very often, this seed was very much about like just kind of rushing into the dungeons. Not a whole lot to be found in the overworld in the outside of the early game, where there were like a few pickups in the village, like the bow and such. But much of the mid and late game all found in dungeons. Fire Rod coming out of Thieves Town, Mirror and Cane coming out of Ice Palace, Boots coming out of Palace of Darkness. Power Glove coming out of Tower of Hera, and Mitts kinda coming out of a dungeon, being the Fat Fairy item, requiring that you clear 2 dungeons for it. So, and yeah, Justin going for that, rush dungeons, take them out first to approach, and it really paying out in his favor.
You know what? This could be still like a really close match. This could come down to execution on Justin's part. Without silvers, does make Ganon's Tower a little bit more difficult. If Glenntai executes really well, now it'll be very interesting to see him if he made the same gamble as Justin. But this is very close. It's crazy that Gomo just was like on cold stare. That was so good.
Justin's got Justin's pretty much 2 dungeons ahead. It's a pretty significant lead. But it's there is still that slight advantage that Glenntai has of the silver arrows. Silverless Ganon can be tricky sometimes, so looks like Glenntai electing to not do the bomb jump.
This is going to accidentally pay off gloriously for him.
Yeah, we'll probably be seeing a full clear from him. Just looking for items, but yeah, when he does get down to Cold Stare and finish it off, then he will be in go mode as well. And yeah, about to find that cane. Yeah, Justin actually still doing a few checks, getting red mail for it. And there's the cane pickup for Glenntai.
So we're seeing go mode, and we could see another go mode. He has a small key. He can actually beat the boss right now.
Yeah, he could go do the same, despite not doing the bomb jump, he could take pretty much the same route as Justin, just go through the doors right by that pit and walk downstairs and cane the button rather. But looks like he's gonna elect to keep checking items. Not gonna gamble that the chests are worthless. Yeah, he's gonna full clear this, so he's gonna walk all the way back upstairs and check those right side chests back up at the top. And powder off of Argus for just a little bit of extra safety on Justin's side.
Yeah, for people who don't know, the time difference is roughly like a minute and a half, 2 minutes on Ganon. Which makes it, like, when you're doing a speed run of this game, makes it not worth it.
Oh, Glenn changing their mind?
Well, no, they changed part of it. I think that they thought they needed another key, maybe. But you don't. You don't to beat Cold Stare. especially with Bombos, so he can just Bombos it down. He doesn't need full magic, which can be the most unfortunate way to lose this dungeon.
Yeah, we'll have enough magic to just cast Bombos on Cold Stare and finish the fight, but a little bit low in health. Well, does have a Fairy Bundle though on backup.
I believe he also has a blue potion.
But Justin, meanwhile, is on the way into Ganon's Tower.
So you guys know what that means, and some people are already doing it. Feel free to guess the number between 1 and 22, which is the number of chests in Ganon's Tower. The big key has an equal chance to be in any of them. And that is the last item that we need before we beat Ganon.
Yeah, and, make sure you get those guesses in because there are some pretty major prizes at stake. And by major prizes, I mean absolutely nothing. Bragging rights.
There's Herfy Durfy's Love and Affection.
Oh, and taking a hit to Cold Stare going down, but it does, as we mentioned earlier, have that fairy on backup, so just gonna get right back up and finish this fight. Only one eyeball left, and it was one hit away from dying. That's unfortunate.
And there's the mirror for the Go mode.
Yep. Glenntai now in Go mode. Might not know that yet, because still has not seen Meyer areas, the requirement for Meyer. Doesn't know what medallion it is, and doesn't have Ether. Small key right away, and we might see a quick right side gamble.
Yep.
Yep, we're going to see exactly that.
This used to make 0 sense. The way that keys were distributed in previous logics were not completely even in Ganon's Tower. But now that they are completely even, this is just a solid gamble that you can make. I don't actually think he's going to make it through here.
It's going to be a little close. Kind of stumbling on the first one a little bit.
Oh, no, he's good.
So we've seen 2 items yet. No big key yet. There will be another 4 coming up here.
Of course, it can always be in the tile room. Now, he's checking a few extra chests. I'm not sure why. He has everything he needs to beat the game.
Oh, and there it is! Number 3. If you got number 3, congratulations. You can brag about it for the next 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, you can. Feel free to go bug Herfy Durfy for his love, as it turns out. Grabs another key, so I think that gives him that. Yeah, that's the one he needs. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the most important things, you can't get too excited about finding the big key. You gotta make sure you've got a small key before you start climbing.
Yeah.
Because there are 2 locked doors at the very top of the tower, and only 1 key available from a Helmosaur, little baby Helmosaur up there. Really disappointing to get all the way up there and not be able to progress.
People have lost matches to that. I mean, I lost being in the main tournament because of that. As I did the math, would have been there, but it's a mistake that a lot of people make at least a few times in their career. Get a little excited, end up wasting like 5 to 10 minutes.
Pretty low on the arrow count for Justin's on Justin's side, but that mimic room being the last one room he'll need those arrows in, so.
He doesn't have silvers, so he doesn't need the 4.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't have silvers, then the arrows are completely irrelevant after that room. There's nowhere else you need them for.
And they're not even very useful for this room here, for the gauntlet rooms. Much better just switch to fire. And that was a very good enemy RNG there.
Yeah, starting up the gauntlet section. Just a big series of tough to clear enemy rooms. There's Beamos in pretty much every room that you gotta watch out for.
Yep. And the enemies are very erratic because of the conveyor belts moving them around.
Yeah, and the enemies in these rooms are enemies that move randomly. On top of that, the Stalfos and these Forcehead guys. I can't think of their actual name right now.
I honestly think that this dungeon may have been made with like the intention of it being a fun thing to do over and over again, just because of like how random it is.
Yeah, seeing how those conveyor belts and those BMOs just kind of knocking around the room. It's gonna be a tough series of rooms, but he's through it and on to the Land Mollusk 2 fight.
And with his powder, he can powder that bunny bean, get a fairy, and a nice little health refill.
Yeah, powder drop from I believe that was Argus. Really helpful for a little bit of extra safety. Speaking of safety, Glenntai could really use some down to half a heart in this Maya run.
Hopefully he has another fairy. I know he visited 2 different fairy rooms. He was bouncing between doing the full right side, and he has opted to go do like the big key chest and the other small key chest. So
interesting, he's taking this route because he doesn't have the big key yet. It's over in the chest, the small chest right by the big key. It's a big chest right here. Yeah, gonna get the message about no big key, and he's gonna find it immediately afterwards.
I'm not sure why he keeps checking. He's checked a few extra chests. I'm not.
I feel like there it might have
sure.
just been a kind of scared of the low health, just kind of going around some of the sparks in that big room.
Well, no, I was more talking about like him going to Meyer Shed. There's nothing really else he needs. Like golden, the difference between golden and tempered in Ganon's tower is pretty slight. The only difference it makes is shaven. I think it's 4 attacks off each phase of Ganon.
Yeah, that's true. It is kind of, go mode is go. Oh no! Justin Z just a little short.
What?
Ooh, nice.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, the lantern just barely has the reach to clear that gap if you don't have the magic of the fire rod.
Wow.
And yeah, just able to reach over that pit and light that last torch. Yeah, the magic gauge can be a little tough to judge sometimes. There's it's really hard to tell exactly how many fire rod shots or whatever else they're using it for you have left. So yeah, just a little misjudging a little bit how much magic you had left there, but able to salvage it pretty cleanly.
And by all luck, our tracker has somehow survived through this. All
right, coming up on the validation chest, a pretty good Moldorm 2 fight. And it's validation butter sword.
Wow. So
as if Justin Z already didn't already have a solid enough lead here, now he's going to have a much easier Ganon fight. That golden sword pretty much guarantees 1 cycles on the first 2 phases of Ganon.
It also makes you can swing your sword in Ganon phase 4. If you get the timing right, and with Golden Sword, you could just keep swiping at him and just get him. So that we could see that. Oh, that was a nice double. Could have been a triple, but slightly wrong angle.
I'm not even sure if it was a double. There's a little bit of an odd quirk with Aghanim where if 2 of the balls hit him at pretty much the same frame, then only 1 of them will count. That was pretty close to each other. They might have hit on the same frame. Those last 2 definitely hit at the same frame, but thankfully he was only 1 hit away from dying anyway. So I think that was a 4-cycle Aghanim too, pretty respectable.
Yeah, that's fairly average. I think it's 3 or 4 cycles, depending on the pattern. I think for that pattern,
chat's telling me I'm dumb and it's 5 cycles, but I'm here to commentate. I'm not here to count. I don't know how to count.
The only counting I do is Silverless Ganon. Sometimes I'll count that if their frames are low and we can't actually see the flashing. Glentai's still checking a few extra
Glenn's
spots.
Still checking a lot of items, and there's very little you could want at this point. There's a blue cane, and he's gonna go. It's
actually one of the items. Yeah, I was about to say that is if you're gonna look for items, that's one of the items you probably want, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a safety item. I don't think really necessary, but
no.
I guess if you want a little bit of extra safety net, that's fine.
Yeah, there was 2 1 cycles there from Justin.
Yeah, with that golden sword, the butter sword, only 6 hits per cycle there. It's really easy to reach.
Now, would you still swing, do sword spins, or would you swing with golden? 'Cause it's the same.
Spins the whole way. It's just easier to hit with. The active frames of the spin attack are much more generous than the ones in the normal swing. There's really no reason not to.
Now, getting Torchlich here with his current setup is not required, but kind of needed. He does have blue potions.
Yeah, getting the Torchlich is going to be really helpful when you're going for a silverless fight, so that you only have one torch to relight. If you have to relight both torches, then your magic starts to be a little bit of a concern, especially if you're going to use Fire Rod over Lantern. Fire Rod lets you, relight from a larger distance away, and also lets you charge spins when you do it, which can let you get some extra hits in, just like we saw right there.
Yeah, and this fight is very. This is actually a respectably difficult fight, no matter what. If you do not have silvers, it does save time over getting silvers. Quite a few bit of time. Like he just said, it was an Eastern, and Justin's like, well, was never going to end up there.
And he's pretty close to getting him. Oh,
yeah,
tagged by a fire bat there.
This might be. He might not have needed to use this. This might be the last hit.
Again, going to use his blue potion there, which unfortunately cancels his spin out, but... Oh,
okay, so he's a few away.
I think we're looking really close here. One or two more, I think I'll do it.
There,
and there
yeah.
It is.
That was really, really good silverless fight. So, congratulations to Justin Z. That is another win for him and his group.
Yep, and there we go. Yeah, Justin Z finishing first place with an official SRL time of 1:31.12. So well done to Justin.
That was really good fight. Now we're going to see the audio hear the audio from Glenntai's side. He is not too far behind. He entered his last dungeon right around the time of the completion. Justin Z will be coming in. He's just plugging in and pulling on his headphones. I'm the same way. I actually usually play musicless, so in tournament races I'm listening to a different headset. We'll just see what's on the pedestal as well. Yeah, I don't remember if we said the time, but it was in fact 1:31.12. So I'd like everyone to don't forget to follow our tracker who has disconnected from the internet. Don't forget to follow the runners, and one is right here. Here's Justin Z. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Really sick Ice Palace gamble in and to go to it.
I just can't. That was. I don't even know what to say about that. I was just in absolute shock.
As were we.
So I've got one question I'd like to ask you, Justin.
Okay.
And that is, what are those?
Yes, indeed. Man, it just fell together, especially after my complete when your brain just switches off and you're like, yep, I totally didn't get that chest up in Hera. I really hope it's the basement. But you did get the chest, so needed that little moment to then have everything else go right, after that.
Even after that obvious meme, you still know. What are those red? Like, I don't know.
No, I know. Yes.
Yeah, we were starting to worry about that kind of the boots slip in your mind would just allow Glenntai enough time to catch up from all the walking, but
they certainly did. How long did I walk for? Maybe 20 minutes.
It was something like that. Like, you finished pod, you were dashing through pod, and then the save and quit, I guess, just
switched
kind of
me
made
off.
it slip your mind. But you went through Thieves Town and Skull Woods without dashing once.
And then I realized it. I'm like, oh, why don't I go, to, I don't even remember what my thought was, but it was somewhere. Oh, it was desert. I'm like, oh yeah, I can do desert because I have the boots. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I have the boots.
The boots, yeah. That's another part we're kind of worried about. Like, would you go revisit desert if you didn't think you had the boots?
Right. No, I knew I had them.
desert was pretty important for continuing that run. But yeah, that gamble was sick. Like, I love my Ice Palace gambles, and going there first without checking any overworld. Glenntai checked a bunch of overworld as well, and he has just gotten onto the mountain. He is walking up to Death Mountain. So
I was a little bit concerned for you when I saw you go straight to Cold Stare. I'm like, well, okay, probably gambling that Mirror could be somewhere else in the overworld, but it's fine. Or it could be right here, and
It could be
pop it out
right
of Cold
there.
Stare, and that's fine too.
I decided, like, I'll go in there, see what's up. It's crystal. And then when I got the cane, I'm like, all right, you know what? Mirror's probably not in here, or if it is, you know what? I've got the cane, so there's other places I can look if I really, really want to, including Mire. So I'll just go kill Cold Stare. I mean, that's really what it was. And so, I mean, talk about, man, just working out like a dream.
And for Glenntai, he didn't do the bomb jump, but that Cane of Samaria allowed him to do it without it.
Yeah,
So,
I guess it did. Wow.
The logic actually gives you a small key, the cane, the big key. So everything you needed to just go straight to Cold Stare. The game was basically yelling at you to go fight Cold Stare.
In a sense, yeah, it sure was. So
he actually did end up.
Listened.
Yeah, he actually did end up checking one extra chest. He did the chest south of the Penguin Room, like the one you have to like hit a switch to like make it appear. It has 2 jellies, not the spike one, but the other one.
Right.
So he is currently walking towards Ganon's tower. Yeah. Also, nice right side gamble paying off.
Yeah, I mean that's just my rule. If there's a key over there, continue. So
yeah, that's a pretty common rule we're seeing nowadays, and it's it's worked out a lot of for a lot of runs.
Yeah, I don't know how new you are, Justin, but I believe that the reason why you'll see like older runners do left side is because there was like quirks in the logic.
Right.
The keys weren't placed early, so the big key actually had a higher chance of being on right side. Sorry, being on left side.
Being on the left, yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't seem to have any trace of that anymore. There's, I can't think of how many right side keys I've gotten. So yeah.
Dungeons are all dungeon items, I believe, are placed before everything else.
Right. Right.
All right. Well, yeah, we're seeing Glenntai start the Ganon's Tower big key hunt right now.
Come on
Diesel.
now.
Oh no! Not gonna go right side.
Well, we did see essentially a full clear of this dungeon, which is cool. Now, okay, so I know that metagaming in like seeds is like kind of like taboo, but I would totally metagame your finish time with this seed as a like right side first. Or like it was like a gamble, like it's really close by.
Well, that's it's hard to say though, like what exactly your opponent did. It's interesting to see that he's skipping the small key on the torch though.
Yeah, that was a bit odd.
121 out of 216 items. That's that's a pretty efficient clear right there as far as item pickups are concerned.
Yeah, I'm happy with that, considering I had a seed this morning for practice that I kind of dubbed it the V26 PTSD seed because absolutely unnecessary pendant dungeons. And so I guess maybe I had that in the back of my mind today. Obviously did do Thieves Town and got the Fire Rod and decided to finish it, but aside from that, it was more this seed was just, hey, just focus on what's in front of you and get really lucky on Cold Stare.
And
So what?
making his way through left side here, found the shovel, interestingly enough.
Oh,
Sadly, the big key is not over in the dig spot.
I'm going to say probably my 4 bonks had to do with never using the boots the entire season.
I mean, at least 2 of those were required.
That's true. That's true.
The silvers, they're in Eastern. Do you want to take a guess at which chest they were in?
Very first one.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You're right. Figures.
like I said, like I was trying to avoid pendant dungeons in a way, after this morning. So sure enough, I'm like, really? Did you find them in Eastern? Come on, Ganon.
Here's Data God
Sure.
in the chat is asking if there can be major items in Ganon's Tower, and yeah, that is absolutely yes, there can be.
Yeah.
In fact, if you look at the full spreadsheet of like sample seeds from when V26 came out, there's the possibility for seeds to have the bow in Ganon's Tower Big Chest, which is a location that you never ever see checked in Randomizer,
No.
but it can happen.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, there's actually a few times where Ganon's Tower will have a major item needed for completion,
For completion.
but it's actually needed to complete something back in the overworld. There was a weekly seed not too long ago where Flute was in GT, and Cane of Samaria was in Mire, which was required to beat the game.
Yeah,
So
big key on the right side, which requires the Cane of
Right.
Samaria to open up, and Pendant in both Pendant Mire and Turtle Rock. So Cane wasn't required to reach Ganon's Tower, but it was required to get the big key.
it was a very, very trolly seed. Everybody had an interest and reaction to that one.
Yeah, the seed where everyone is like reaching Ganon's Tower and no one else is done, and they're like, "Wow, I could finish top 10 here," and then they're sent on another wild goose chase.
Right. Well,
So-
this one, if you read it, it was pretty much a jet seed by
Yeah,
contrast.
this seed really just pulls you along. I don't think there was any real troll spots if you just followed the logic and went to crystals.
Yeah,
Which,
No.
after like the kind of initial early game, scattered item locations throughout the overworld, and once you finish collecting all that, it was pretty much just a matter of going from crystal dungeon to crystal dungeon, and that was it.
That was it, pretty much. I'd say the one very small troll exception is you feel like you should go to Skull Woods, especially the way
yeah.
I routed it. And of course, if I'd gone to Thieves Town first, I would have had the fire rods. So, but that's pretty minimal.
But hey, you got the single arrow earlier for doing that, so
At least it was the first two items. That's all I really could ask for, I suppose.
So Glenntai finishing up with Ice Armor and is now about to start the right side. Gonna skip the tile room, thankfully.
I think for me the trolliest was, as a viewer commentator, was when you both were in Death Mountain. Neither had the hammer. One of you had the flippers but didn't have the knowledge of the hammer location, and the other had the knowledge but not the flippers.
Yeah.
So it was fantastic.
So Glenn then did not
Glenn-
fake flipper.
Yeah, Glenn did not fake flipper, but he also didn't go to Zora. So it was a
Interesting.
very, very interesting. He didn't go straight to Zora because he didn't have money.
Oh, okay.
He just didn't have the money to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of this matter of like, okay, we know where the hammer is and we know it's accessible. It's just when will all the pieces come together for one of the racers to actually get to it?
Right. Yeah, that was funny too, because I thought, oh, and there's no boots yet, of course. So you couldn't sequence break that either. So yeah, that was a weird one. It was a weird early game, and then it just all fell into
And
place.
there's the big key for Glenntai, so gonna be
All
seeing
right.
the ascent coming up here. Not
Does he
even
have a
checking
key?
out the
No, he
chest,
does.
it's going
Good.
straight up. Does have a small key on deck, so can finish the dungeon here.
How did the validation butter make you feel? One of the
Man.
only items it could. That's one of two items it could have been that would have sped up the Ganon fight for Chet between Chet and the chest.
And of course, I also decided to dive down to those two in Swamp and got the red mail for my troubles. So one that's pretty obvious, but the other two, maybe not so much. Again, just felt so lucky the way this fell together.
Yeah. Now, didn't get silvers, which I'm sure that's what you wanted.
Absolutely, but I could hardly complain when it was a butter sword. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
'cause
it's pretty much a free, free first couple of phases for Ganon. And, all you have to worry about is landing your spins in the ending phase, and you're good to go.
yeah,
For me, that's a nerve-wracking fight. Like,
definitely can be. Although you feel a lot better, with the stuff I had.
the
That
only
one-
thing. Go ahead.
It was pretty decent. It was just pretty decent for me.
Yeah.
I felt more comfortable than I normally do. Let's put it that way.
Probably feeling pretty good. Like, I think that 1v1 like there are times where you have less confidence and times where you have more. And I think when your opponent hasn't done and you are in Ganon, I think it actually relieves you a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's true. You just think, well, all right, you know. I mean, odds are I'm not going to be sniped, especially if you've been playing well anyway. Which, boots aside, I felt like I had. So, so yeah, I did feel like the pressure was kind of off at that point.
You did almost nothing that was like unneeded in this seed.
Yeah.
The early pod.
too.
The early pod choice that you did make not only made sense, but like the logic kind of almost was like, I think that was the only thing that the logic pulled you towards that wasn't required really, except for it did give you the boots going in there.
Right.
So the pod early worked out if you'd used those boots a little bit more.
Yeah, indeed. I could have sub 130'd if I had.
I guess so, yeah. Because you save quite a bit of time in Thieves Town specifically. There's lots of places that you can dash through.
Yep, absolutely. Just strolling through there. The village of outcasts in Thieves Town, you know.
The very, very leggy fight of Lammo 2 with silver arrows.
Yeah, it's those fireballs that really do it.
Yeah, it's that one extra particle. Or I guess it's more than that. It's got a few sprites to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not exactly a particularly powerful system. A lot of things in Link to the Past kind of really push what it's capable of doing. You'll see, Cane of Burma especially.
Yeah, that is a lot of sprites for the poor little SNES to handle. I've always wondered because like it happens in so many games. I wonder if like there was a point in time where I don't know if they've even come out and said this, like if some of this laid was like they used it for effect almost, because like they could have just avoided scenarios where this many enemies or this many effects happen on screen. It would be they could do that, but then it's less epic. I've always wondered if it's, especially in Mega Man, I've always wondered if that laid is intentional.
Entirely possible. You know, just Nintendo branded, you know, first party games generally sometimes, and this is certainly a great example. It just seems like they made really weird design choices when you look back at it. And yes, having so many lag producing sprites and particles and everything else, you do kind of wonder why did they do that.
He fell to the other torch room. That sucked.
Yeah, just kind of tripping up into the corner there, but still enough magic to clear it out. Oh yeah, nice recovery on this torch room, by the way, in your Cannon's Tower climb.
Yeah.
Just kind of inching across the gap there for the lantern light.
Yeah, it, you know, when it's going right, and that was just one of those things. Like, whew, man, thank goodness. Yeah, I felt really lucky on that too.
Well, Earthbound had a lot of issues beyond that, like when it came to production. That has more to do with Earthbound having production issues than regional differences.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, coming up on the Moldorm 2 fight here.
But I do agree, the almost sub 150. This could be sub 150 because he has silvers. The other fight was somewhat trolly though.
Yeah, I don't think he quite has the ability to sub 150 here.
Will he validate? Come on, do it. No.
Please.
Oh no! He's missing his butter sword!
Oh no! Oh, rip sub 150. He doesn't know this, but
no. Technically, if you execute correctly, the butter sword is actually just a little bit of safety against Ganon. You can one cycle both the first two phases with temper, but it's still, still disappointing to see it go. He made such an affair out of it too. Like he really teasing us with that.
He like threw dirt on it with his boots.
But I think in this case, the validation chest is gonna get the last laugh here.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Disrespect me one more time. Oh, some of these arrows are just
This is a really nasty set of Aghanim teleports. Like we're just seeing a bunch of 1s and 0s here, and I can't fault him at all. These are really nasty setups. There we go. Cleaning up the Aghanim. I think that was his Yeah, a little bit frustrated with him there. Giving him the old hook shot treatment, but I think that was a 6 or 7 cycle.
I love it when people chase the bat. That's my favorite.
Yeah, starting the Ganon fight probably around like 149.20 or so once all these remaining cutscenes are done. So no sub 150 here, but still gonna be getting that sub 2 baseline, which I'm sure he'll be reasonably happy about.
I think my favorite detail in Link to the Past, by the way, is on that pyramid, being able to see Ganon's tower in the distance. And you can see that from the start of the game, but you really doesn't click in until you see that bat fly in at the end of the game.
Okay, there are those 12 hits for the first phase. Need 12 more once you start spinning the trident here. You could use Cane of Burma to sit through the fire bats, but
that's almost not worth it for how much lag you end up with. Like, you end up wasting time, even if compared to a 2 cycle.
It's a free extra 5 minutes to your ending lag time. It's
exactly.
I think he's been counting his strikes because he's not going back in. So I think he's got it. Yeah, he is on
there
it.
We go. Yeah, just 2 cycles for both the first 2 phases, and we're on to the third phase here. Just kind of chase them around, then 4 times. Then it's the last phase, which will be making pretty short work up with those solar arrows.
And this is actually going to be ending right in time. For people who don't know, GDQ is actually doing a GDQ hotfix for Link to the Past randomizer. And the other match is starting very shortly, so we'll probably do a quick interview with Glenntai and then hop right over there. Oh, no!
Getting hit with the fire bat and going right down.
Oh.
And that's going to reset the Ganon fight.
I think Ganon Falls are the worst Thin in this game. The worst Thin, because it's you. It's always you. You can never blame the game for it. Oh. While he's doing this, I will remind everyone to go follow both the runners. You can follow Nibbon, who is the original tracker, and if you feel like you can follow Dude, who jumped in to track the last bit of this.
And hey, thanks everybody for just jumping on here. That's been great being with you. At about 10 minutes notice?
If you blame the game for your own deaths, the game will just kill you anyways.
It's true.
Yeah.
Probably
Never
worse.
blame the game for your mistakes.
Take 2. He's playing a bit risky not using... Oh, I guess he does have a fairy bottle that he's relying on right now.
Nope. He has his potion out, so... Have it out. Yeah, there you go. He's just gonna pop it.
Yeah, I mean, it is faster than the fairy cutscene.
Yeah, may as well.
Ooh, that was real nice. Switch there. Got hit a little by touching... Give Ganon a little hug.
Yeah, taking quite a bit of damage here. Again, still has that fairy gun backup, though.
Gotta make sure that Ganon doesn't touch you during these teleports. He knocks you back pretty far if he damages you. So you want to make sure that you're a little bit away, and he is playing safe away from the edges.
Yeah, it's like the knockback physics while you're in this room are completely different than in the rest of the game.
Yeah, well, so the knockback physics are based on where they push you the opposite way that your controller's facing for at least the fire bats. Yeah. So you can be pushed into the fire bats. But it also allows... Yeah.
Face the wall when you get hit by it, if you can have the...
Wait, no, he has the fairy. We're good.
Yeah, he does have the fairy. So it's just a cutscene, but still a little unfortunate.
He must be freaking out right now. And he's going to, I believe, there it is.
There's the last hit.
And his
GG's for Glenntai, and
right.
we'll be walking into the Triforce room very shortly. But yeah, it does finish with an official SRL time of 1:54.19. His timer being a little bit late to start there, but...
And I have a very, very good question to ask him right away. Welcome, Glenntai. Good job on finishing the run.
Hey, thank you very much.
What do you have against that chest man?
Right now, it's simply spite. I was getting there. I made a couple of routing choices I wasn't too hot with that I realized was going to probably cost me some time. Apparently, I just didn't get the memo that Justin is good while I am trash, but that's another story.
Well,
Oh, come on, man.
You may have spit on the face of the validation chest, but the validation chest gets the last laugh because it had Buttersword.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
The chest just wanted to be nice to you.
It really did. It was
You
nice
know-
to me.
And you threw dirt on him.
It's really because of the last seed I played, I had to double dip out of Ganon's tower into Turtle and I was very angry.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about earlier.
But, yo, good job. Good game, good Justin.
Hey, GG to you, Glenn. Thanks.
Hey, thanks. I ended
Yeah,
up
once-
getting a personal best. I'm kind of psyched. I just beat it by 5 minutes.
Oh, wow. I didn't even see that
Oh,
in
congrats.
SRL. Awesome.
Once again, folks, if you want to give our racers follow, Justin Z and Glenntai, highly encourage you to do so.
Yeah, and feel free to follow all the 4 speed gaming channels. And for some people here who might not know, the secondary tournament actually primarily gets played on Randomizer Mania. There are 4 channels for that as well. So it's just Randomizer Mania, no space, and then add a 2, 3, or 4 for the other channels.
And also, much love to our restreamer, Fiesel, and our trackers, which were Ninban and I believe it was Dude who came in towards the end of that when Ninban's internet went out.
And never mind, you should also be giving credit to your commentators for giving you a heck of a match to commentate. Both Spooty Biscuit and Zelness.
Yeah, and I will we'll let you know, Glenn. You honestly, were very, very close until you literally just made 2 different gambles. And it was the difference. He went to Ice Palace first, and he got that chain, and he went straight to Cold Stare afterwards.
Oh.
So he
Yeah,
just ended up doing. He
Just the
actually
absolute-
made a few mistakes, like forgetting he had boots.
Yeah, for about
Oh,
20, 25 minutes, I just walked around.
Wow.
So
That was bizarre. I don't
It-
know why.
Yeah, it was a
Honestly-
pretty entertaining race. Pretty close for much of the first half. Yeah, that Ice Palace though, just having everything you needed for the rest of the run, kind of really
Yeah, who would have guessed?
was a,
I
was
still
a big make or
can't
break
believe
point.
it. Yeah, it really was. It just unbelievable. 20, 25 minutes, I just walked.
But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for us for now. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Thank you for co-commentating with me, Zelness.
Mhm. And thank you very much for co-commentating with me, Spoody. This is actually thrown to there really quickly. So thanks to Fiesel for letting us do a secondary match on Speed Gaming 2. As always, you can watch all the VODs of any match that you miss on the YouTube as well. So I assume Fiesel will host up the Speed Games Done Quick so that we can watch that one. It's actually VTorp and Sakura and Darkman doing comms for that one.
Unless there isn't anything else scheduled for this channel next, is there?
I do. Oh, there might. Oh, yeah. I guess there is other tournaments. There's Super Metroid, Earthbound, all those. There's a Pokemon Crystal Randomizer tournament, and for people who don't know, signups for that one are ending soon. So if you didn't know that existed until I just mentioned it, and you like Pokemon, that's a thing. So there you go. So peace out. I assume Fiesel will drop this. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks again.